We have some more bugs, mainly to do with the Halloween update. Thankfully, there are not as many bugs to talk about, and we have some major bug fixes as well. If you have Gordy, you may have bought his Midnight Sleeper skin. People have started to realize an inconsistency with his skins. This user said, why is the Midnight Sleeper skin for this guy leaning backwards? And they provided two pictures. On the left hand side is Gordy's default skin, and on the right hand side is Gordy's new skin, Midnight Sleeper. As you can see, his head is leaning backwards and people are getting really frustrated with this. If you've been lucky enough to acquire all 4 Halloween trinkets, you may have realized this. If you use one of the Halloween trinkets and then go to roleplay mode, and then return back to lobby, the Halloween trinket disappears, and this happens to all 4 Halloween trinkets. And if you don't realize it's disappeared, you can go into a floor with no trinkets. If you've had the misfortune of Twisted Glisten and Twisted Gordy on the same floor, you may have realized this. This user said Glisten and Gordy text won't appear at the same time. Same for panic mode. I was lucky I knew Gordy was guaranteed floor 20. And here we have a picture showing that only Glisten's text was showing at the start of the floor. So I guess they need to make some changes so that both texts appear. It will almost look like a conversation if both of them were there, but players do need information on if Twisted Glisten is on the floor or if Twisted Gordy's on the floor, and the only way to know that is from the text at the beginning of the round. If you have been playing Danny's World for a while, you know that items can appear in the same place as research capsules. This user said, I don't know if this counts as a bug, but sometimes items are on capsules, and as we can see, the air horn is in the same place as the research capsules, which means you're going to have to use one of your items if you want to get the research capsule. King Mob replied saying, we need to tweak the spawning overlap, especially as we add more items. This problem's also happening to Twisted Roger and Gordy, Twisted Gordy and Razzle and Dazzle, Twisted Gordy and Twisted Blot. They're all spawning in the same place. King Mob has said it's got lost in the shuffle of fixing the high priority bugs, but yes, we have a fix in testing for this. Sorry, but it didn't make it out with today's patch. If you're not aware, we are on a new patch 13.7, so some bugs have been fixed, others have not been fixed, and it looks like the devs are working on creating new spawn points for items, for research capsules, for Twisteds like Twisted Roger, Twisted Blot, Twisted Gordy, so that they're not all spawning in the same place. If you have played with an Eclipse in your team, you may have experienced the immortality bug, where Twisteds ignore the tunes and the bug carries on onto next floors as you progress through the game. I myself experienced the bug and I had to leave the game because I didn't want to bug abuse. It was very annoying. King Mob has said the Eclipse immortality bug should be fixed in 13.7, our most recent version in Dandy's World, so Eclipses emoting during their transformation phase shouldn't cause any immortality bugs anymore. If you've ever wondered what the dev team have said about mains spawning on the Dyle floor, like Twisted Gordy, and rares like Twisted Eclipse spawning on the Dyle floor, King Mob has said for the time being, any Dyle floor and Halloween floor interactions are intended. That almost sounds like eventually they're going to remove mains and other rarities spawning on the Dyle floor. If you've played Dandy's World over the past few days, you may have realized that Twisteds are walking into objects a bit more often. This user said this has been happening for a while already, and here we have Twisted Brusher walking into a box, and it's happening to other Twisteds on other maps as well. King Mob said we probably need to do a thorough map check. So it seems like the pathing of Twisteds need to be recalibrated on maps. They've shifted a bit. Really interesting. If you have completed any masteries on the new Halloween tunes, you may have realized when you go to roleplay mode, the system doesn't recognize that you have completed the masteries for the Halloween tunes. This user said the mastery on the Halloween tunes doesn't show up in RP. As you can see, the mastery icon on Gordy is not there in role-playing mode, even though this user does have vintage Gordy. I've seen a few people with our next bug. It's to do with selecting skins. This user said, not sure if this is a bug or something else, but every time I click the default skin for any tune, there is an audio glitch. And if we take a listen, There's a weird buzzing noise whenever they click the default skin. I've seen a few people with this problem. I wonder what's going on. And lastly, Twisted Gordy being able to see through walls, which makes his attention span basically infinite. King Mob has said we tweaked it for 13.7, so it shouldn't be happening anymore. Twisted Gordy's attention span should be fixed, as now he shouldn't be able to see through walls. So hopefully that is working properly now.